Hello, everybody. Sorry I can't be there. I had signed up to do the conference with Miss Hamlin before I signed up to go get another master's degree. So I'd like to say I'm out on a cruise ship somewhere, but I'm not. So I'm at Old Dominion today. But I wanted to share with you a couple of thoughts that I had because I know a lot of you in the audience today are probably classroom teachers and you're thinking about all the different things that you have to do in a day and how can I make this work in my classroom. Working with Miss Hamlin is great. That's my number one suggestion is to find a partner in your resource teachers, whether it's your librarian, your art teacher, your ILC, your music teacher, your PE teacher. All of those folks are definitely going to be willing to work with you, especially if you come to them with a idea and then ask them to help you with the plan. It seems like very rarely we reach out to those people, so when they are reached out to, they take those opportunities and they run with them. So that's my number one suggestion. Don't be afraid to ask someone to team up with you. And it doesn't just have to be another teacher on your grade level. I was the only classroom in the entire fifth grade at our school that participated in this year, and next year we're hoping to get a few more of them on board. So that's my first suggestion to kind of squelch some of the anxiety you're having. And I know that one of the other things that I've included in my slides is how do you fit this in with everything else we have to do. And my advice is don't look at it as, oh my gosh, I have to devote an hour to this every day. My students worked on it independently in their small group rotations. They worked on it independently while they were first coming in the morning off the bus during morning work. They even a lot of times asked to work on it during their free time. If we had a canceled resource for some reason, people get sick and we don't always get subs. They were really excited, and the fact that they got to drive it really hit home for them. And so that intrinsic motivation we're trying to build for grades K through 5. Doing things like this really helps them find that. One of the other things is I like to think I'm creative and I have good ideas, but I don't always know how to bring them to fruition or where to even start. And so on the slide, I listed a bunch of different texts for you to check out that I've used periodically over the years. A lot of them are in your school library. Judy Christopher has been great about getting those books for each school. So there's at least one copy, especially the 5Es. That's out there. If you have to borrow it from a school, feel free. If you need something, you can email me. I'll take pictures or scan different pages of what you need and send it to you. We can get together. If you want help too, I don't mind at all meeting with teachers to help them. Looking at my notes here that I have written down. So that's the 5Es book. The Inquiring Scientists, Inquiring Readers, that should also be in your library. It's not as quick of a read as the 5Es book, so please don't pick it up thinking, I'm just going to breeze through it in 10 minutes and I get the gist of it. It is one of those ones you kind of have to sit down periodically and, read a couple pages, but it is very good. The Uncovering Student Ideas in Science, there are many, many volumes to this, and there's even volumes for middle and high school. It breaks it down into biology and earth science, and these are all or should be in your resource library at your schools. They were purchased a couple years ago. They are quick activities that you can do, some quicker than others, but they can give you a jumping off point. The one that sticks out of my mind is one about temperature, and it's asking the kids to evaluate just a little blurb of data and decide what is happening as the temperature increases. Why is the thermometer changing? And with little events like that or scenarios, the kids are going to show you what they're interested in, and then you can use that interest to create a PBL. And not all PBLs have to go all year like ours. You can do short-term ones. It just takes a little more planning to do that, but they can be done. And then the last book, I've never seen it in any schools, professional libraries. Outside of Caroline County, we had them up there. But I know that I own at least one of them. There's several of them for different subject areas. The Differentiating Instruction with Menus. This book I really liked because it gives you good information on making rubrics. Because that leads me into one of the other anxieties is I needed grades, and the county has a policy of 10 grades every 9 weeks, and if we're working on this huge project, how can you break it down to get grades instead of waiting till the end for that final product? And just think of grades don't always have to be multiple choice tests. You can create a quick rubric for their planning stage. You can do a quick rubric for their storyboards. It's easy enough if you really think about it to break things down using a rubric. But if you're like me, I get in my headspace and I think, well, I need something that I can send home so parents really know what we're looking at and really understand why did they lose points. But what I've learned this year is I need those parents to want to come in and talk to us too. They're another partner that we, don't always get to utilize, and I know they're busy, but when a parent reaches out to me with a rubric, even though the child had a 95, hey, why did they lose this couple of points? Can you explain to me this project? And I explain a little bit, and then I encourage their child or them to go to their child and explain it, and that's where the excitement really comes in. The two videos you watched of my students, that was all designed by them. And of those students, those 3 girls are relatively shy on a day-to-day basis. They talk to each other and they play with their friends, but when conversing with adults, they don't always appear that outgoing. But when they did this video, took it to a whole new level. They worked on that script for a few weeks, and I was able to use that script and those storyboards as a writing grade. I use their planning as a writing grade. We have to do those 5th grade writing portfolios. This would be a great way to do that too. If they're doing project proposals, you could do it that way with, webbing or outline, however you wanted to do it. But there is a lot of wiggle room with doing a PBL, and that's the piece that I liked the most. And as far as my final anxiety of, if they're doing the research and they're designing it, how do I make sure they get that 1 or 2 facts that they need for the SOL? And you know what? They may not get it. And they may find that they get 1 of the facts out of maybe 5 that they need, but they become the experts in that 1 fact. So when you do your regular instruction or labs in class, specifically talking about science, that's when they'll get those other pieces, but it's easier to connect, and then they get a whole picture because they are excited about the topic because they've been in charge of the learning. You're driving another piece of it in your daily instruction, but they're using what they became the experts on within that lesson, and that's where the kids really shined the most. They were able to ask more insightful questions, things that I've never had students ask me before, and not all the time, but a lot of times we would stop and say, well, I don't know, let's do a little research. And then going back to that Clever page and using those research tools, which is not a tested SOL, but it is out there as something that we are supposed to be showing our kids and helping our kids learn. We were able to use that. And if I couldn't do it in the middle of class, maybe we were crunched for time, had a special event, or it was a longer lesson, I use Schoology a lot. Put in discussion boards and encourage them to search for the answer on their own. Encourage them to go to Discovery Education and use that resource on their own and see what they could find. And when they did, I had days where they would be able to present to the class, this is what I discovered, or this is what my friend and I discovered. So final piece is Schoology is another big piece of it. You can put in discussion boards, you can have them upload their planning and different drafts and things like that, and you can even assign rubrics to them so that they know exactly how they're going to be graded. But that's my piece of it. Again, if I'm so sorry I can't be there to answer questions, or I'm sure as I'm driving down the road tonight to go to ODU, I'll think of, oh, I should have said this. But feel free to email me anytime. I'm usually at school. If I'm not, I still respond to emails. I know I probably shouldn't, that work-life, home-life balance, but I do respond most evenings to all emails that come in. If you want to get together and you guys want to do like a little group where we all kind of work together on creating a PBL opportunity amongst several schools, we can do that too. There's lots of space we can get in the library or meet up at a central school. So anybody that wants to work together, just reach out. Miss Hamlin has all my information for you. But I am MC Butler at henrico.k12.va.us. And, oh, one more thing. See, I knew I would think of something. Mr. McNamara, that was all Miss Hamlin. She was able to connect with him and get him on board for the animal group that they wanted to talk about what happens to animals in a natural disaster. I very simply, quickly went into a Google search and started contacting people. Hey, my name is Mrs. Butler. I teach 5th grade. I have a group that's doing this. Do you have anything or any expertise that you could offer to help this particular group? Would you be willing to come in and talk? And it was very interesting to see what they had to say with all the changes in the laws over the last 2 years in that regard. I also reached out to friends. We were trying to plan some other things in there, and time got away from us with all the cancellations and other things that happen, which happens. But, you know, I've got these contacts that we didn't end up using that I can use in future projects. But to send an email to someone or pick up the phone, which I know we don't do a lot anymore, those people don't mind. If they can't do it, they're going to tell you no. That's the worst they can do. So, you know, don't be afraid to Google and ask. You know, find those resources, find those people. Ask around your school. I know there's lots of people that have part-time jobs or volunteer opportunities, or, you know, family, friends that work for different companies, corporations that could help you as well. So, all right, enjoy the rest of your #LifeReady conference. Bye, guys.